glad we have come together again. Thank you for taking time to listen. I know the pace in society can be hectic. Cali Joe from North Carolina. I'm excited to share with you the cyber community interested in social and criminal justice networking. Growing up, my dad's way of coping with having a child on the autism spectrum was to give self-help books and turned a blind eye to my quirks while making excuses due to my mental health. I love my dad, but I am biased against self-help books. However, this does not mean you should not read self-help books. If they help you, then I encourage you to rely upon them. Remember, making a personal sacrifice for the sake of the broken community can bring peace and healing. Practicing humility disarms and prepares a platform for reconciliation. Hey, 45 years of self-help books can't be wrong. However, the books I would love for a market to write in today's era would be explaining and giving examples of while we are living secure and confident lives, among others having a breakdown, how to diffuse an emergency situation. Essentially a layman's guide for pro se mental health peer support advocate. I don't encourage everyone to rush into a dangerous, chaotic situation because you could die or potentially cause another person harm. Yes, in part, I refer to the tragedy on a New York subway where a man having mental health issues triggered others to react with intentions to protect, but it ended in tragedy. Cyber citizens, when we use the mental health defense for these mass shootings, it can demonize those with mental health and cause decent people to overreact. We should reevaluate how we should proceed and continue to find root cause solutions. Cyber citizens, are you ready for June social and criminal justice networking? Since Tuesday, it's been like a fire in my bones waiting to burst. Our previous episode on the 25th of May, I opened the door to autism awareness of public policy's impact on autistic children. On my GTL Prison Tablet News, I discovered on the same day as my May 25th podcast, the singer Sia, that's S-I-A, spoke out about autism and sobriety with episodes of Relapse on the Rob Has a Podcast show. I encourage my cyber citizen viewers to network with the podcast episode for May 25th, 2023, Rob Has a Podcast show. As I stated previously, the reason for my joy, though Sia being a newlywed, I've gotten to see photos of her for the first time. Prior to this was a couple music videos between 2015 and recently. I only saw Maddie Ziegler, another member of our autism community. Sia often uses Maddie as a focal point or muse. As I stated previously, due to my autism, I don't watch sports with sound, nor do I listen to music or watch movies often because those people with autism, sound creates auditory sensory overload. Like nails down a chalkboard while putting a 9-volt battery to your tongue. Don't do that. Don't try that at home. As said, first, I have kept my promise to watch WNBA with sound. Second, Sia is one of my favorite music artists, and I now know she's part of my community, and that's totally groovy. I will also add that when we discuss my autism, and as Sia's podcast labeled it, Living Off, I will refer to it as my autism honesty. In my autism honesty, I'm 15 years sober. And yes, in prison, I've had plenty of opportunities in the past, though never gave in nor surrendered to temptations. It takes something serious to put a drug habit in the death of my friend, the reason why I'm in prison for my life sentence. That cured me. I speak to you today in hopes of creating change for the sake of public safety and health. What is the root cause of sobriety and relapse, the cause of addiction? Growing up with two moms in the East Bay, south of Oakland, California, while even riding the Bay Area rapid transit, the BART system, a child is exposed to unique lifestyles of the Bay Area. Though being autistic, I often chose to be nonverbal and only observe everything. I was raised mainly by women with limited male influence. A common practice with autism is cloning or masking. By observation, we learn to mimic others' traits so we can not show our odd quirks. One of my funniest is from Mama Roz. When Mama Roz would get mad, she would do this head motion. It appears that when I get in one of my autistic kids, I apparently mimic this. I did not realize I did this until my prison when my friends had brought that to my attention. I always wanted to honor the memory of Mama Roz. I was thinking more like a tattoo. It also shows that my cloning obviously came from constant observation of Mama Roz while mad, stalking at my sister. Briefly, I would like to take a moment to read something in relative to the public policies we were recently speaking about on the 25th, about bad public policy and how they can affect a person with autism. And this brief is from the National Medical and Policy Groups that study sex and gender identity. In light of the connection between mental illness and suicide, more focus should be given to the relationship between transgender status and mental illness, but expanding sex to include subjective gender constructs could result in the stifling of useful therapeutic approaches to treat gender dysphoria. Studies around the world have found high prevalence of mental health issues associated with gender dysphoria. Researchers from the United Kingdom have found with autism, those with gender identity disorder show more psychiatric problems than the general population, with 70% holding a current and lifetime diagnosis. The onset of gender dysphoria after puberty without prior signs found. 12% of adolescents had autism spectrum disorder. 62% demonstrated a psychiatric disorder on neurodevelopment disability preceding the onset of gender dysphoria. Though I will say that in the middle of my study on this, the tablet went out on me on my law library, so I can't give you the facts and who the research came from, but glitches happen, and I do apologize profusely on that. The truth is, stuff does happen sometimes. But on this note, on this day, we'll move to another topic because I only had notes on the autism situation, which worked with the notes that were destroyed. So we will move to the other part of June, which is Juneteenth, and we will make a point of talking about the sacrifice. Most often, people have to make sacrifices in life, and the one sacrifice that I have seen multiple times is oftentimes careers of our athletes and actors. Colin Kaepernick would be one of those. He got our attention, whether right or wrong. He did get our attention. Another example would be Maya Moore, where she gave up her career to deal with issues regarding unlawful imprisonment, such as after she freed Jonathan Irons. Moving forward on that, I will say that women of the WNBA in the 2015 or 16 season had made a sacrifice by wearing all black jersey tops and had gotten in trouble for it because they were standing up to violence against the African American community. You know, in life, sometimes we just need one influencer to open that door for us. And when that door is open, we as the citizens have that voice to speak up, whether we do it through a court action or petition, and standing together in solidarity for a common cause. I will say common causes are important, and they do come and go. I want to point out to your attention of something I had recently saw in the news yesterday, World News on ABC, which was discussing Haiti and how they're in a total state of chaos without leadership right now, similar to what happened to Sri Lanka about a year or two ago. And there's not enough funding for the citizens of Haiti right now to get any kind of help or assistance. However, we give multi-million dollars to Ukraine. I'm going to simply say I think it's rather sad to see that these black and brown citizens of Haiti are not getting the help they're needing, not getting the funding that they could use when they're less than 100 miles away from our nation's border. yes, they are an island, but they're still close to our nation. And one thing I can say is you as in your network can reach out to Kamala Harris, who has been given the duty to find the root cause of migration to the United States from Latin American countries. Well, Haiti is no different than that. And it would be good to create some sort of networking to get this looked into, to get some funding and some real assistance in governance and creating and helping them to reestablish their government that has fallen apart. And that can only be done by speaking up. And I would encourage you to give consideration to that. I would actually further encourage you to go to the ABC and look at the story from that, from yesterday, which was the 1st of June. I find that there shouldn't be a difference between Ukraine and Haiti in giving humanitarian aid assistance and helping them to cure their problems, especially when they're so close to us that refugees could flock this way, and then you would have rogue government.
All right, go ahead.
Regarding Juneteenth celebration, we should reflect on the sacrifice of our rights as applied. During the era of slavery, there were abolitionists, those who stood up to the system and those that in secret helped individuals to get away. Today, this is no different. Most often we have our entertainers risking it all to sound the alarm. The individual entertainer is calling to the other citizens, shining the light for others to see the wrongs of society to also join and speak up. Whether what Kaepernick did was right or wrong, the truth is he got people's attention. Then his career was destroyed. It was not in vain. His acts will always be remembered. To Kaepernick, I will say we will never know how many black and brown lives were saved by your sacrifices, and I say thank you. In the same time era, Tina Charles, if I am wrong, I do apologize, but if memory serves, Tina Charles of the WNBA had led a black shirt movement with the WNBA. At first, it led to fines, but those fines, if memory serves, were reversed. Still, this too, a sacrifice. As I said to Kaepernick, I say to Tina Charles and the women of the WNBA, thank you. Maya Moore is a modern-day example of an abolitionist. After helping one man, Jonathan Irons, secure his freedom, she sacrificed her career with the WNBA. To her, I say, I recognize your sacrifice, and you are missed. I will also say, as a prisoner, I have stood up for the civil rights of prisoners from the inside. However, this too comes with sacrifice. On my disciplinary record are nearly a dozen dismissed and or upheld infractions of either disrespect, disobeying a direct order, and several communicating threats to harm or injure staff. For the record, I maintain a civil right of free speech to inform by grievance or verbally that I intend to seek legal action. Never have I threatened to harm nor hurt anyone with force or threat of physical violence. That said, I have 2 cases in our federal court dealing with such matters. My favorite write-up was for false allegations against staff, because there is no infraction in our policy entitled such name. They created that one just for me to hide some serious misconduct in 2019 before it is now before our state and federal courts. The actual charge close enough would be an A18, making statements against staff that, if true, could lead to criminal charges against staff. I'm not seeking pity or to stir the passions of my cyber citizens. I go by the name Cali Joe because it's to protect myself and my prison community, though at times I have spoken that I have used my last name. I shared that story of sacrifice for the purpose of allowing other black and brown cyber citizens to understand that I understand the cost of shining the light to the violation of civil rights. It comes with a cost to speak out as people who like Kaepernick, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and more. So this Juneteenth, we should recognize the sacrifice, because though California may be in process of passing millions of dollars in reparations to each black and brown citizen, it came with a cost. This will always be reflected in our society and in our nation. The voice of the people rule. So whether our theme song should be Queen Latifah's Unity is up to you. All I can say is UNITY. Dana Owens, God bless you. Sorry, my bad. I admit it was shameless name dropping in the hope of humor to simmer our passions and to refocus. Today, Cyber citizens, I encourage you to be fearless for this Juneteenth celebration. The fight for equality will always be a priority, and the next time an entertainer shines the light to a cause, we must quickly stand in unity and be prepared to buffer the storm with that influencer, so that, like with others, they don't have to sacrifice a career. Being it's Juneteenth, the month should be given to restoring the loss of those whose career was sacrificed, not just entertainers. Restoration in the form of a thank you for now. Further, we should discuss Haiti and the World News report of its humanitarian crisis. Similar to Sri Lanka, its government is in chaos, and it is clear in its face that no one is trying to help this issue. I, as a Caucasian American, can see that it quite possibly is due to the majority of citizens are black and brown. This should be given some networking with Vice President Harris under her quest of root causes of migration into the United States. This is our concern when less than 100 miles from our coast, and refugees arrive from Florida as the closest state cannot just put on buses to resolve the issue. Like the Ukraine, where they have been given multi-billion dollars for defense from an invading country. A portion of that could lead to a restoration of a crippled government for the purposes of democracy, to the very least, feed and protect women and children. It could also lead to internal defense from gang wars in that country. This is an interest for our nation because it could directly impact our public safety. States and territories such as Puerto Rico, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina could be impacted. Plus, wherever Florida governor ends up blessing them, to which I disagree, unless they have been given a proper case plan for where they are sent. North Carolina prisoners, when released with their $45 gate check, are required to have a homeland in place of residence or shelter to be sent to. For the record, in North Carolina, our state legislators have not raised the $45 gate check since 1994. Hey, look, something inflation hasn't risen in 2023. Cyber citizens, in the coming weeks, I wish to work with you on the help the WNBA transition in her growing pains because of issues going on where drafted players are not being given their opportunity. A issue by Alex Morris, former LSU, on Instagram, had raised the alarm to this issue where seasoned players, veteran players, are still staying in there. And that's causing the draftees not to be able to come into the roster of 144 people that they have for the 12 team.